Did you know Frederick Allen Hampton was born August 30th, 1948, and was assassinated December the 4th, 1969? He was an American activist and revolutionary socialist. He came to prominence in Chicago as chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party and deputy chairman of the National BPP. Hampton also became involved in the civil rights movement, joining his local branch of the NAACP. His dynamic leadership and organizational skills in the branch enabled him to rise to the position of Youth Council president. One of Hampton's greatest achievements was to persuade Chicago's most powerful street gangs to stop fighting against each other. He founded a prominent multicultural political organization, the Rainbow Coalition. Because of his strong leadership in 1967, the FBI identified Hampton as a radical threat and began to try to subvert his activities in Chicago, sowing disinformation among these groups and placing a counterintelligence operative in the local Panthers. Did you know that? Well, now you do. Peace.
Peace, how are you? Hey, how are you?
All right, about yourself.
I'm doing good. Well, I am Queen MyQuality. Thank you for, taking time out of your day to come to MyQualityIsForReal. Here I have real talk to quality people who have real purpose. And I just, I really like what you have going on. I like your whole movement and everything. So welcome to the show. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and we're gonna get right into it.
All right, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. My name is Trey Styles. I'm an author, writer, born and raised Detroit, Michigan.
Okay, so you have the new novel, Black Boy Arise.
Yes.
That's really dope. First, I just want to say how you been doing through this whole quarantine and everything like that. You've been at home, you've been able to get out. How's your mental health and everything? I know it's been crazy.
When it first happened, I didn't believe it would happen like that. I didn't actually believe that we would actually experience something like this in my lifetime. I thought it was just something we saw in the movies or something like that. Mm-hmm. So initially it was very difficult because you have a career, you work from home, and you confined to your home. You can't really see your people other than reaching out to them on social media. So it was very tough initially, and but we got through, and things started to open up, across the nation here in Detroit. But what I did to stay focused is, I'm a heavy reader. Stayed in the gym, I stayed working out from home, even though I fell off a little bit during the early part of the quarantine. But that's how I kind of, kept my mental space pretty good. Just connecting with good people and, always talking with people that keep you in a good space, pretty much.
Yeah, that's dope. I'm the same way at first. When it first started, I was like, I don't really believe. I don't know what they got going on. I don't believe it. I didn't even wear no mask at first. I just, because you can't trust anything that they tell us. So it took me a while to kind of to actually catch on or whatever. And I actually moved to a whole different state during the pandemic. So it's been a journey for me. But overall, it's kind of bittersweet. It took a lot. During this time, it made us more close to our people, made us appreciate our people more. Like a lot of Black-owned businesses were birthed out of this. Everybody is waking up, if you will. So it's really dope. It's really dope. We were able to connect. Everybody is connecting and all of that. So I want to get into, so you're a writer, you're an activist, you're an author. Tell me a little bit about how you started and what even made you want to write this book.
Well, it goes back to I was in middle school. I wrote this paper about how powerful music can be to our loved ones. And my mom read the paper and she said it brought her to tears. And she said it made her cry when she heard how I wrote the paper, how it can affect our loved ones. She said it was just so powerful to her. I'm thinking because it's my mama, she's just trying to, blow my head up, because that's mama. Mama's baby. I'm my only child, so she wanted to say, okay, it was real good. It was real good. But it wasn't until even years later until I went through a very deep-seated depression, I was very depressed as a teen. I actually witnessed a shooting as a teen, and actually a fatal one. I had to go to the trial and everything.
Oh, wow.
And it was very, very, very close to home. And I was paranoid. And at that time, only 3 things stopped me from committing suicide. Number 1, I didn't want to leave my mom. 2, I was actually scared to do it. And 3, I was brought up at that time to believe that if you committed suicide, you would go to hell. I was a 14-year-old kid. I had just turned 14. And I was looking for some kind of escape. I wasn't going to do drugs, wasn't going to sell drugs or nothing like that. So reading became a way for me to get answers. It became a way for me to also escape, because I was really looking for an escape. And I was very inspired by the Malcolm X movie. And then I started reading the dictionary and writing out the dictionary. And then I got into Malcolm X. And I used Malcolm X as a rubric for manhood and Black manhood in particular, because I didn't have a lot of men around me that really walk the walk. You had a lot of people that talk the talk. Like they would tell you, don't do this, don't do that, but they doing all kind of stuff. As kids and as people, we don't do as people say do. We do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have any really strong male models around me, so he became like my in a way my rubric, for manhood. And I tried to model myself out of him as a teen, and because I know he was to be a man of impeccable character and respectable and strong, and so that's what I use. And that's I always say that that's the man that inspired me the most was Malcolm X, and that's actually a man that was dead for like 40 years, when I really became hip to him. So from there, I started writing poetry, and it just started spilling out of me. Every day I could just write, and I had a poetry book. It would just spill out, and people enjoyed my poetry. I started rapping, writing raps and stuff, and it was just a way to express myself, and it was a form of healing. And so from there, I went to high school, and I got into a creative writing course in my high school, but I left that high school, went to another one and finished there. And so I went on to college from there, graduated college, but I got back to writing a few years back. And it's like it came full circle all again, because I remember graduating from high school and my teacher shook my hand. She said, "Congratulations, future writer." And years later, I'm a writer. After I went through everything I went through in college. We changed. Anybody go to college, they change their major 3-4 times. So that happens. At first, I was going to be a journalist, but I ended up, getting a political science degree. I was going to go to law school at first. I decided I didn't want to be a lawyer. Then I got an MPA, a Master's of Public Administration degree from grad school. I worked as a youth counselor, financial aid officer, I'm professionally trained public administrator, but I came full circle, and I'm back doing what I love to do, and that's write and express myself.
Oh wow, that's amazing. You have a very I'm not gonna say unfamiliar, because a lot of people, I don't know like if you grew up in the hood in Detroit, but I'm from the south side of Fort Worth, so I'm from the hood, and so what you described, what you described is unfortunately what we see and what we grow up. And a lot of people, even myself, it took me to when I got older to realize that a lot of the stuff that we've seen is not normal. We normalize it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody getting shot, or somebody, you're like, oh, well, that's another person that just got shot today. But the fact that you actually like witnessed it, and it a lot that you could have went any other way. But the fact that you were able to take the positive out of that and to, to build from that. Did you use what made you want to be a youth counselor?
Yeah, because it was my way of giving back. And I was an activist here too. I work with a Black nationalist group here.
Okay.
In my community. And so we, so it had always been in me, because I was modeling myself after Brother Malcolm. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what wanted to get me into being a youth counselor, to give back. And when I got in there, I knew I had it tough, but I realized, like, man, I still kind of had it easier compared to a lot of those kids, because some of those kids didn't have nobody to love them. You'll be amazed at some of them. I don't know if you would, because you probably know now too, but some people be amazed at some of the stories I heard in there with, those kids. I mean, I was amazed. Like, wow, I was like, man, I had it tough, man. But I kind of had it easy compared to these kids. You had kids in there that was in there for murder. Some was in there for rape. Some of them had been raped. Had a 12-year-old that was in there for attempted murder on his parents.
Oh wow.
So you had sorry about that son right there. I know that's the son coming in.
Okay.
But everything you could think of, like I saw in there, and that was my way of giving back to those kids. And I remember being in there, and someone wanted to challenge me, someone wanted to fight me, and they saw I was there, and I really cared. And some of those kids that tried to, well, one in particular, one tried to tell me he's gonna come take my food in the lunchroom.
Ooh.
He said, "Mr. Styles, that food, yeah, the food." He said, "Mr. Styles," he said, "that food you got up there looking kind of good. I'm about to come up there and take it." That's what he told me, just like that. And I just said, "Ain't nobody taking nothing from me." And they was using me being real laid back. I'm real laid back. So some of the kids just looked up and smirked. So he walked up real quick, and I put my guards up because he walked up so fast. I was like, dog, because he walked up so quick that I remember I was like, I'm at work, and if I had hit the kid, so much could happen. I could be charged with child abuse. If I had children, I couldn't go on the field trip with my kids. Losing the job was the least thing. Everything I had worked hard for in school would be going down the drain. So I thought about it, and I had put my guard down, and then he just tried to take my food, and I had to restrain him. And then in the process of restraining, he said, "You small, you can't do nothing with me," and all that. But I, have to show him I have some strength, and that's when security came in.
That's how I know that that's not my calling and my journey, because I wouldn't have even been thinking. I would have just, I can't do it. I worked with kids. I worked with small kids, and I realized that's not me.
I understand. I totally understand that.
I'm little. I'm like 5'5", so I just imagine some little girl coming up to me trying to I wouldn't be able to do it.
And I honestly think, and the one I worked, because of course it was a male facility, juvenile male facility, and it was basically prison for young men. You got some guys in there waiting to that had been there since they was 12 for murder, waiting to see if they was gonna be able to go home at 21, or was they going to prison for the rest of their life. So you had stuff in there. But I know you being a woman, a lot of women actually work there. And the thing is that, there's some guys in there that had problems with women, that didn't like women, some of the young guys, but there was some young men there that were protected women. Like, they were very protective of them. So, I think you could probably have someone that was protective of you and willing to fight for you, because, you would probably been like the closest thing some of them had to a mother figure, because a lot of them didn't have, the proper mothers.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a tough.
I understand what you mean too, though.
Oh yeah, because I like I said, I'm not there in my walk yet. I wouldn't have even thought about all of that. I would have just reacted. And like you say, you got so much to lose, and you have to have that type of passion and that type of understanding and empathy when it comes to those kids, because they've been through a lot. The same thing with adults. You know what I'm saying? You see people, and you may, oh, she's mean and she going, but you never know what that person has actually been through.
That's so true. We all got a story.
Yeah, and it's dope that you being a Black man, you are, vocal about it. You also have a podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, Black Man Talk. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Black Man Talk. Black Man Talk. I came up with the concept of doing the show because I didn't feel it was any vehicle for Black men to be human. What I mean by us being human is like express our hurt, our pain, our concerns. I don't see nothing out there like that for us, as far as I was concerned. And initially I started with a friend, but eventually it just became me. But the whole purpose of that was just for us to be able to express ourselves and our concerns. Like, even if you're a Black man, you're going through a heartbreak. You're not a punk because your heart is broken. You're human. It's only natural to have feelings. You're not a punk because you want your dad in your life. You're not a punk because you cry. You're human because you cry. And I always tell them, like, contrary to popular opinion, some of these guys that walk around that's got the hardest exterior are some of the most emotional men. And a lot of times that's just like that's like the shell. Like, we developed that. I developed that. To act like nothing bothered me, but I was walking around like I had it all together, but a lot of times I was dying inside. Even as a young man, when I was going through that depression, I smiled in front of my family and friends, but sometimes when I was at home, I would cry because I wasn't happy, and I wanted answers, and one nobody I could really talk to. And so I know that a lot of us are going through this, and I thought I was alone into the world until I got older and realized there's a lot of men going through what I'm going through, and that was the whole purpose of Black Man Talk, for me to be out there to express myself. If you notice initially, my earliest episodes, it's just audio. I don't show my face. You know, it wasn't until like last year, late part of last year, I said I'm secure enough in myself that I'm gonna put my face out there, and whatever comes, comes. A lot of it also came from the childhood and growing up in the city, and you know, putting myself out there, the paranoia of what happened even as a teenager, all that stuff prevented me from really living a full life. And I just got to the point, so I got to live a fuller life. You know, you only live once, and whatever happens, happens. And I just said, it's some Black Man Talk is just so important for Black men to, it's just to be human. It's just like every human emotion we feel, and it's only natural we feel this way. It does not make you less of a man because you care. To care is only human.
Exactly. And it's so important that you say human, because out there, they don't look at the Black man as human. They look at you as a target. You know what I'm saying? And for you to create a space for Black men to be able to, you know, just like you said, to freely be themselves, because you grow up and you're like, oh, don't cry, and oh, you soft, and you know, you're not supposed, men don't cry and all of that. And especially us, like, so I think that that's really dope. I think that's really dope. I actually got a chance to, you know, look at a few episodes, and it's like the topics and everything is amazing, and we definitely need that. And I think the same thing for women as well, but especially especially Black men, because you guys go through so much, so much.
And you know what's interesting about when you talk about like the manhood thing? I had when I was I'm not trying to throw dirt on him. He's actually passed on, my uncle actually. But when I was 17, like I actually had my uncle tell me that I was gay because I read books. You know, so that's where we coming from. They're like that type of environment, like where it's okay, you got to be hard all the time. You got to be tough. And you know, 17, even though I was coming out of my shell, I was, you know, maturing. You know, that still hurt my feelings, even though I wore a straight face, because you know I was still fragile, and I'm still finding myself as a young man. You know, and so that bothered me, and but it's just so much. It's so much that we got to overcome, and then it's like the medium. What's prized in our community? Like sometimes you see the guys as thugs to get promoted more, and you know, and the guys that like go to school. Even though, look, I'm from the hood too. Every struggle they had, I kind of relate to. Only thing is, I took a different path. I decided instead of getting into the streets, I take up a trade. I go up to college. I go to college. Brothers like us, that's what we do. But we experiencing the same thing. You know, even though they try to stereotype me like a Steve Urkel. My reality and Steve Urkel's reality, Carlton Banks' reality is totally different. Right. You know, so you know, I'm more like Trey was and Boys in the Hood. You know, from the hood.
Sorry to cut you. You realize too that it's really more cooler to, you know, like it's nothing wrong. It's cool being, you know, nerdy, if you will. Like I have a 17-year-old brother, and he's kind of the same way. Like you kind of remind me of him once he gets older, because he's really into books, you know, wanting to learn Japanese, and he play his game, and you know, he's quiet, and you know, some people have said the same thing, and I had to tell him and remind him, like 20 years from now, you're gonna be the one that is the cool one, because they're gonna still be doing the same thing they was doing. They're not going to know anything because they don't take the time to even learn. You know what I'm saying? So we got to change that narrative that is corny to be smart. Like it's really corny to be dumb.
It really is, and I can attest to that myself, and tell your younger brother that, because some of the same people that tried to talk down on me, it was weird. Even my own family, like it was sometimes people make comments like it was always something negative, like when I be reading, he gonna be building a bomb and blow us all up. But it was said with a smirk. But you know how some people smirk, but they got the mean to hurt you and all that. But some of those same people came to me and told me I was a smart one. And some of them told me they wish their sons would have did what they did. Actually, my uncle, you know, we got closer towards the end. He had to tell me he was proud of me. He's like, you doing things I didn't even know you was doing, and we proud of you and all that. So I can tell your younger brother, and also let him know that it's gonna be people that's gonna be jealous of him as well, because it's gonna be those guys that was popular in school that thought they were better than you then. They was the man then. You know, when you get older and you know that they ain't popular no more, they don't matter no more. you know, they'll look at guys like you and try to say, okay, you're the bougie one, you're the stuck-up one. But I've never heard a brother say, and I'm from the blackest major city in America, from the hood. I've never heard a brother say, one day I'm gonna get my bachelor's degree and be better than you. But I have heard brothers say, my shoes cost more than everything you got on. You know, I got more women than you. And I heard it all those things. So I just let them know that he just, you know, stay on his purpose. And it's going to be tough, you know, because you're going to see some people getting the glitz and the glamour. Some of them are going to be getting more attention, even from the women, because the women, they product of the environment just like us. You know, both of us are. But just stay on this purpose and you'll be fine. And, you know, you'll be fine. It's easier said than done, but I can tell you it wasn't an easy road. But you know, if you just stay focused and know that you're doing right, even though you're around people that may have you thinking you crazy, when in fact a lot of them are the ones that's crazy. You know, he can make it through.
Absolutely, absolutely. So where can people find the book?
My book you can find on Amazon.com. You can find it via paperback or ebook.
Okay.
Black Boy Rise.
Okay. So are you right now, are you in the full entrepreneur mode, or you still have to, you know, go to a 9-to-5 like me, or you just, how does that work for you? You doing a podcast full time, and how does that work?
For me, it's a mix of all those things, because I'm in business with a friend. I'm in business with one of my friends. And of course, my books, that's my business as well, but also still work a 9-to-5 as well. And, you know, so I'm doing a combination of all those things.
Okay, that's dope. And that's pretty much what this show, another thing that I started this show for, because I too want to be an entrepreneur, but I still got to go clock in Monday through Tuesday through Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So I want to encourage those people out there who, like yourself and like myself, who wear these many hats, and you know, we got one foot in and one foot out, but we still doing it. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And just let you know that I'm proud of you, and I don't, you know, this is our first time connecting, but hopefully we can still, you know, stay in contact. If you ever want a Black woman to talk on your show, you know, I definitely come and give my thoughts and my opinions as well. So again, I just want to thank you so much for, you know, taking your time out and just for being brave to even write this book, because a lot of times, like I said before, when it comes to Black people, especially when it comes to Black men, you guys carry so much, and you know, you want to be strong for your family and want to keep on this mask to make it seem like everything is okay. But your podcast, Black Man Talks, is really important because it's a safe space for Black men to be able to, you know, let all of that go. And so I think what you're doing is really dope. It's really dope. Can you let the people know where to find you, like your Instagram, your social media handles?
You can find me on Facebook, Trey Styles, Instagram, Trey Styles 978. I'm also on Clubhouse. I just joined Clubhouse recently, so you can find me on those social media platforms. But also, I also want to let you know that eventually we definitely gonna have, you know, Black women are, you know, that's our counterpart. Y'all women by nature, so y'all definitely gonna be on here. I just want to, you know, make it, you know, a space for Black men, but you know, the sisters definitely gonna be on eventually though. For sure.
Absolutely. Well, whenever you need somebody, I'll definitely love to be on your platform as well. So before we wrap it up, I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but just give me, I know you've given a lot of advice and dropped a lot of jewels, but can you give any last advice or any words of encouragement to anybody out there who may be watching that maybe have dealt with the same thing that you're dealing with, or maybe dealing with them? Anybody out there who, you know, wants to be a writer, you know, any advice that you would give to anybody out there right now?
I would say, number one, none of us choose the situations we are born into. So if you're born into the ghetto, you from the hood like we are, it doesn't mean you're inferior. It doesn't mean that you're less than. You know, we had no choice. The family was born into, the community was born into. So number one, you know, you're not responsible for the situation you were born into, but you are responsible for, you know, when you're an adult, the situation you are in. And I know life is so unfair. You know, some of us still playing catch up. I'm still playing catch up myself from the trauma and the things I didn't know as a kid. It's still things I'm still learning. You know, ever since I was 14, I've been working on myself, but there's still a lot of things that I still got to learn myself. And so I want people to understand that especially the brothers and sisters out there, that you are not less than because of your circumstances. But more than that, whatever you want to do in life, whatever your goals are, whatever you see yourself doing, you want to be the best at that. You don't just want to be a run of the mill. And I recommend you study your craft. Like me, loving being a writer, I read. I'm a heavy reader anyway, but I read books on how to write. As far as your grammar, your punctuation. I mean, all these things. That the element of styles is a book I recommend for writers. That's been a book that's been popular for years and years. So I say study your craft. I read Stephen King's book on writing, and also understand that don't limit yourself. That you can learn from anybody, no matter their ethnicity. You can learn from anybody. So I said just study your craft. Like me, I study writing. When I wanted to write my book, my memoir, I studied other people's book. Malcolm X autobiography, Claude Brown, Man Child in the Promised Land. Nathan McCall. It makes you want to holler, a young black man in America. So whatever you want to do, you study your craft. If it's somebody you admire, you study them. Eventually, you may mimic them early on, but eventually you'll get your own style. Because you want to have your own voice. So I just think it's just so important. Whatever it is you want to do, study it. Podcast, I studied that. I studied the people that was doing it before me. I studied and seen what they were talking about and what they weren't talking about, and what I know. Like whatever your area of expertise is, or whatever you're passionate about, you can study that and you bring your own flavor to the game, no matter what it is you want to do. But whatever it is you want to do, you want to be the best at it. You want to study it. You don't just want to be just like everybody else. That's the main thing I leave.
Okay, well, thank you for that. What's next for you? You got working on another book? What can we expect from you?
Yeah, I'm definitely working on another book. Right now, I'm battling with a concept with a couple of them, because when you're creative, you have so many ideas.
Yes.
You have ideas come some of the strangest times of the day. Could be 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, oh man, that's like you up in the morning. Like, oh, I gotta write that down. But I just gotta narrow these couple ideas I got down and decide I'm just gonna do this one, then I'll do that one later, and just zero in on it. But so eventually, another book is in the works. But after that, I plan on doing a documentary.
Okay.
Talking about black men. So that's what's in the works for me right now. That book first, then a documentary in the future. And then also I want to transition from there to screenwriting and playwriting and eventually doing films and all that, which I know I'm gonna do because I'm on my purpose.
Absolutely. Well, again, this is where I have, real talks with quality people who have real purpose. And I love connecting with people. I love to hear their stories and, just to, especially from coming from us. Like I said, I'm an advocate of people, period. But, I'm definitely black everything.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I appreciate you for taking time out of your day, for coming to let me, get all in your business for a little bit.
That's cool. Ain't no wrong with that.
Yeah, and ask you questions. So you enjoy the rest of your day. This has been another episode. You guys definitely check him out. He's a great brother doing a lot of good things. Y'all check out the Black Man Talks podcast. Subscribe to his YouTube. Get his book. I'll be definitely getting my copy. And we'll stay connected and and stay tuned with each other.
We will. All right, you be safe out here.
You as well. Thank you. You have a good day.
All right, take care.
All right, peace.